A lot of students struggle to choose between IB and A levels, and here is a quick overview of both programs with advantages and disadvantages to help you choose. Some of the aspects are based on personal experience as I did both IB and A levels, so here we go. IB stands for International Baccalaureate, and yes, I had to look for the spelling of this word. There are 6 subject groupings, and students have to take a subject from each one of them. Some students take 7 subjects, but that's not compulsory. So the subject groups are first language, second language, individuals and societies, experimental sciences, mathematics and computer sciences, and arts. In the art group, students are not obliged to study any of the art subjects and can opt for any subject in the first 5 groups instead. And such division of subjects means that any subject that you're struggling with might lower your overall IB score. And finally, students are expected to take 3, sometimes 4, higher level subjects and 3 or 2 standard level subjects. There are also a number of other requirements which are an integral part of the IB. Each student prepares a 4,000-word essay based on an original piece of research, and there is also a compulsory theory of knowledge course, which is also assessed. Last but not least, the IB involves CAS, Creativity Action Service, without satisfying of which you will not be able to get your diploma. One of the advantages of IB is that it offers broader education, encompassing the whole range of different subjects. Secondly, it teaches pupils to study independently and be able to learn and acquire knowledge away from school, which is very useful in case the student then decides to go to the university. However, IB is widely known to cause a lot of pressure and workload. For instance, this explains why some joke that IB was engineered for maximum torture. In addition to that, there is also a low rate of passing IB compared with A levels. Worldwide, only 69% of students who take the diploma each year pass it. Compare this with the A level, where the success rate is 81%. Another aspect to note is that you have to buy IB pass papers, although there are a few of them that you can find for free online. Finally, for some students who are certain of their career aspirations, IB might be too much and even unnecessary. Now A levels. A levels require students to study 4 subjects in the first year, keeping just 3 of those in the second. Some students are keen to take additional subjects, but it's not necessary even for Oxbridge. It is usual for the subjects to be related in some way, for example, either all languages and arts subject or 3 sciences and mathematics. This suggests that pupils will enjoy a lot of free time in their working week. However, they are still expected to do additional reading and researching in their free time, which usually does not happen, let's admit it. Finally, it allows pupils to study only those subjects that they like and that would be helpful for their university applications. Unlike IB, this approach will be likely to enable a student to secure a place at university by not forcing to study those subjects that are not needed for his or her major. In other words, if you are sure that you want to be an engineer, take physics, chemistry, and maths, and why bother learning languages, literature, and social sciences in IB? As for disadvantages, the main one is that A levels are really exam-oriented. Secondly, A levels do not give enough of scope for students to develop in-depth knowledge, encourage them to conduct researches, and be able to face certain questions and problems on their own. Unlike A level, in IB, students are expected to complete various essays and assessments on particular topics they are interested in. And even in IB mathematics, students have to write an exploration delving into a particular topic they are passionate about. A lot of people say that A level is all about depth, while IB is concerned with breadth. And you think 3 subjects versus 6 subjects makes this statement true, but this is a very simplistic comparison. I would say a lot depends on the subject. For instance, I found someone giving this comparison of English past papers. So the first is an A-level question, the second is from the IB exam. In A-level, you get a question on your set book, whereas for the IB, there is no set book. The student is expected to be able to choose the right book from the ones that he or she studied in class. And you can see the examples on the screen. Furthermore, A-level and IB just have different syllabuses, and both of them have, of course, advantages and disadvantages. And it would be delusional to say that A-level is more in-depth than IB. There are certain things that we study in A-levels but do not cover in IB, but at the same time, there are certain things that we do study in IB but not study in A-level. This all doesn't make A-level worse than IB or IB worse than A-level. I would say that A level is a less risky business, but that doesn't mean that the level of knowledge acquired in this program is not high enough. On the opposite, the education content is actually of a really high standards. So if you're a passionate scientist who doesn't really need literature, why not go for A level? And if you're like studying and tend to develop interests in all of the subjects, why not opt for IB? At the end, it's your choice, and doing any of the programs would equally enable you to expand your knowledge and excel in your university application.